As is clear from watching my demonstration video, this was done in a hypothetical classroom. I did not use my students for this very complex scheduling here. And students are always so busy, and I'm teaching to a curriculum. So sometimes it's difficult to, add supplementary material in this environment. So I decided to simply do it alone. Anyhow, so my comments now about, evaluating the strengths and weaknesses of this lesson are more based on kind of anticipation, based on my experience working in the Republic of Korea. So first, what I think would have worked well, what I think worked well. Many students, not all, but many students completed the assignment well. They created, beautiful, articulate posters meeting the criteria of the assignment. Some students went beyond the level of my assignment. Looking at my PowerPoint slide, I just had words listed. Some students wrote complete sentences, which is good, practicing the grammar a little bit. In my experience working here, really students, it's definitely a huge range of levels, so you need to make you need to make the assignment, kind of flexible. You can expand for higher level classes. For lower level classes, just getting a word, is an accomplishment. So that worked well. Some other difficulties, though, is my assignment, required students to write 3 hobbies. Students were okay with that. They were just simply reading the letter, so they were applying the information. That wasn't too difficult. Now, as a follow-up to this activity, once students had completed the posters, I gave students a sheet called a matrix, and they would go around reading several of the posters. They'd have to write down hobbies, they'd have to write down how this is similar to them, how it's different from them. One big problem I had during that period of the assignment was students, not all students, but many students, in some classes as many as half the students, they simply didn't complete the assignment. So I gave them maybe 10 minutes to just work around completing the matrix. Many students, they simply didn't do completing the matrix. They were talking with their peers. So that was a little bit disappointing. Many students did it, but it's a mixed bag working, in schools in Korea. And that's been basically what I've heard from the majority of other native English speakers working here as well. It's just some students will do the work, some simply refuse. So if I were going to do this assignment differently in the future, I believe first, I'd probably just eliminate the matrix portion of the assignment. Just instead of having students walk around the room completing, a worksheet, I'd simply do a whole class, basically debriefing. Similar to what I did in the demonstration video with the example poster. Part of that is just simple efficiency, because it's very, very difficult when you let students up, you let them move, to bring them back into the classroom. It just really disrupts lesson. It can kind of ruin the remainder of class time. I think that would be the big one. One thing that I did change about this assignment was, Fantini's original assignment called for students to list their own hobbies. That doesn't seem too difficult, but in this culture, critical thinking, sometimes very difficult. I worked in a school before I came here. I had students look at a picture, and they needed to give adjectives to describe the picture. Students struggled very, very much with that assignment. And my co-teacher, my Korean co-teacher, took me to the side after lesson and said, hey, we can't do original thinking, we can't do creative thinking in this culture. He was joking a little bit, but I've talked to other native English speakers who have worked in this country for about 10 years. They say it's not as much of a joke as it sounds like. So that's one of the reasons that I changed the assignment. So I think, all in all, not a bad assignment. Worked pretty well. Pleased with many of the outcomes of the assignment, and I think at this point I will stop the video.